Academy. In this video, we will discuss what is a proximity sensor and how it works. Proximity sensors are sensors that detect the movement or presence of an object without making physical contact with the object and converts that information captured into an electrical signal. Devices such as limit switches detect an object by physically contacting it, but proximity sensors detect the presence of an object without touching it. As these sensors are non-contact sensors, they do not cause any damage to the object. Proximity sensors do not use any type of physical moving parts. Instead, they allow signals to transmit through them when something that is being monitored comes in close proximity of the sensing area. There are many types of proximity sensors and they each sense the presence of an object in their own distinct ways. The two most commonly used proximity sensors are the capacitive proximity sensor and the inductive proximity sensor. Now let's discuss about capacitive proximity sensors. Working principle of capacitive proximity sensor. Capacitive proximity sensor is based on the principle of a parallel plate capacitor. Parallel plate capacitor consists of two parallel plates that are separated by a dielectric material which is a poor conductor of electricity such as plastic, glass or porcelain. The two parallel plates are conductive and they are usually made of aluminum, tantalum or other metals. A metal plate typically has an equal amount of positively and negatively charged particles, which means it is electrically neutral. If we connect a power source or a battery to the capacitor, a large number of electrons start moving from the negative terminal of the battery through the conductive wire. When these electrons reach the right side plate of the capacitor, the dielectric material will strongly oppose the movement of electrons from the right side plate to left side plate. As a result, number of electrons, that is the negative charge carriers on the right side plate of the capacitor, will be higher than the number of protons, that is the positive charge carriers. Due to this, the right side plate of the capacitor becomes negatively charged. At the same time, the electrons on the left side plate experience a strong attractive force from the positive terminal of the battery. As a result, the electrons leave from left side plate and will be attracted towards the positive terminal of the battery. Due to this, the number of protons will be higher than the number of electrons in the left side plate, and as a result, the left side plate of the capacitor becomes positively charged. This is how the charging of capacitor takes place. The right side plate has now developed a net negative charge and the left side plate has developed an equal net positive charge. This creates an electric field with an attractive force between them which holds the charge of the capacitor. The ability of a capacitor to store electric charge when a voltage is applied is called capacitance, and quantity measuring the ability of a dielectric material to store charge is called dielectric constant. The capacitance of a capacitor is directly proportional to the dielectric constant of the material between the two plates and inversely proportional to the distance between the two plates. There are two types of capacitive proximity sensors. The first one is dielectric type capacitive proximity sensor and the second one is conductive type capacitive proximity sensor. Dielectric type of capacitive proximity sensor. Dielectric type of capacitive proximity sensor can detect any target that has a dielectric constant greater than air. It has two parallel plates inside the sensing head which operates like an open capacitor. Here air acts as the dielectric. When no target is present, the capacitance between the plates will be very less. These plates are linked to an oscillator and a detector circuit. As the target which has dielectric constant more than air comes near to the sensor, the capacitance between the plates increases. Increase in capacitance increases the amplitude of the oscillation of the oscillator. When the oscillation exceeds a specific value, the detector turns on the output of the sensor. When the target object moves away from the sensor, the oscillation amplitude decreases, and when it falls below a threshold value, the sensor returns to the initial state. Dielectric type capacitive proximity sensors will sense both metallic and non-metallic objects. Conductive type of capacitive proximity sensor. In conductive type capacitive proximity sensor, there is only one capacitor plate inside the sensor. The target itself becomes the other plate of the parallel plate capacitor. The plates of a parallel plate capacitor should be conductive. So this type of sensor is used if the target is an electrically conductive material. The air gap between the sensor and the target functions as the dielectric. The plate inside the sensor is connected to an oscillator circuit that is used to generate an electrostatic field. As the conductive target approaches the sensor, the distance between the two plates decreases, due to which the capacitance increases and results in increase of oscillation amplitude. Once the oscillations exceeds a predetermined value, output signal from the sensor is generated, which indicates that the target has reached near the sensor. Now let's move on to inductive proximity sensor. Inductive proximity sensors are used to detect metal targets. An inductive proximity sensor has four main components. The first one is the coil. The coil generates necessary electromagnetic field. A cup-shaped magnetic core holds the coil. This core is necessary to concentrate the coil's magnetic field on the front area of the sensor. The second part is the oscillator. The oscillator is generally an LC oscillator. It produces radio frequency, which helps to generate an electromagnetic field. The third part is the trigger circuit. The trigger circuit senses the change in amplitude of oscillation and gives the signal to the output circuit. The last part is the output circuit. The output circuit has a transistor. After receiving the signal, the transistor switches on and gives an output. Working principle of inductive proximity sensor. Inductive proximity sensors operate on the basis of Faraday's law of inductance. According to Faraday's law of induction, when an electrically conducting object is placed in a time-varying magnetic field, an electric current called eddy current will be generated in the object. And according to the Lenz's law, the eddy current creates a magnetic field in a conductor, and this eddy current magnetic field opposes the magnetic field which created it. Now let's discuss the working of an inductive proximity sensor. The proximity sensor is installed in the area where we need to sense the presence of an electrically conductive target object. When the sensing coil in the oscillation circuit is supplied with an alternating current, a changing magnetic field is created around the coil. When the target object enters this electromagnetic field, some of the electromagnetic energy is transferred to the object. According to Faraday's law of induction, an electric current called eddy current will be generated in the object. This eddy current produces another magnetic field called eddy current magnetic field, and it opposes the magnetic field which created it. As the eddy current magnetic field opposes the magnetic field of the coil, the intensity of the magnetic field of the coil reduces. As the target comes very close to the sensor, the eddy current increases, decreasing the amplitude of the electromagnetic field. The trigger circuit monitors the amplitude, and when the amplitude goes below a predetermined level, the output state of the sensor switches from its normal condition. As the target moves away from the sensor, the amplitude of the electromagnetic field increases, and at a predetermined level, the trigger switches the output state of the sensor back to its normal condition. By this, we come to the end of this video. If you like our video, please click the like button below and make sure to click the subscribe.
Okay, students, this is about proximity center sensors. Is my voice audible to you? Okay, and we will move on to the today's topic. In today's topic, we are going to see digital methods for angular velocity. We are going to measure the angular velocity. Okay, we will say this topic digital method for angular velocity. How we are going to measure that angular velocity, we will see. Okay. For higher speeds, the electromechanical transducers are not the best option here for higher speeds. And instead, using the digital methods in which digital pickups used with the digital frequency counters are going to be used here. The main advantage of using this digital methods is that there is no physical contact between the shaft whose speed is to be measured and the measuring devices, and thus the loading of shaft is going to be avoided here. There are two types of digital methods or pickups, namely, first one is photoelectric type tachometer, and the second one is inductive type tachometer, like that. First one is photoelectric type tachometer. In this method, we are going to take the opaque disc is mounted on a rotating shaft. Rotating shaft, one opaque disc is going to be take here. This is the arrangement for photoelectric type tachometer. Disc is arranged. For this disc, some holes are provided. Disc with equivalent distance holes. This is the light source, and this is the light detector. Source and detector. We can place here photodiode or photo transistor also. We can place here. This is the shaft. This is the angular moment of the shaft will takes place, and it is going to detect the how much amount of speed it is going to be rotated. It is going to be observed by using this tachometer. Okay, we will see the theoretical part. Along the periphery of the disk, there are equidistant holes or several holes are present on that disk here. At one of the sides of a disk, a light source is going to be fixed. One light source is going to be fixed here. Along the same axis on other side of the disk, a light sensor is going to be placed. Most probably, we can place that light sensor or a light detector. Light detector is we can use that photodiode or phototransistor is placed on the line of on the same line of light source we are going to be placed. Typically, a light sensor used here is phototube or any other photosensitive semiconductor device. When shaft rotates at an unknown speed, this shaft rotates with an unknown speed. The disk with equidistant holes also rotates with the same speed. Shaft rotate అయినప్పుడు ఆ equidistant holes కూడా are going to be rotated. Okay. When the holes come in front of the light source, the light passes through it and falls on the light sensor. If this light if this light passes through this hole, then it falls on the light detector. Okay, light detector falls on the light sensor, which ultimately produces a pulse. Then it's going to produce one pulse. But when a opaque portion of the disk is in between the two holes come in front of the light source, no light can pass through it. No light is going to be passed through it. Hence, the light sensor remains unilluminated. లైట్ సెన్సార్ అనేది ఇల్యూమినేషన్ అదే అది ఆ లైట్ సోర్స్ నుంచి వచ్చిన లైట్ ఫోటో డిటెక్టర్ మీద పెడితే ఇల్యూమినేషన్ స్టేట్లో ఉంటుంది అండ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ గోయింగ్ టు జనరేట్ వన్ పల్స్. అదే ఒపెక్యూ సర్ఫేస్ మీద పడింది అనుకున్నాం ఆ లైట్ పాస్ అవుతుంది కదా, పాస్ అవునప్పుడు unilluminated condition లో ఉంటుంది అనమాట. It is going to be in the unilluminated condition and thus no output is going to be produced. The output pulses produced with hole in between the light source and the light sensor are connected to the electronic counter. It is going to be connected to the electronic counter, which is calibrated in terms of our counter values and but it is calibrated in terms of speed, speed of the rotation directly. Whatever the speed that shaft is rotated, that is going to be calculated, that is going to be the calculation of the speed in terms of that pulses. Okay, is calibrated in terms of speed rotation directly. The number of pulses produced depends upon the number of holes on the disk and as well as the angular speed also. Here the number of pulses is directly proportional to the angular speed indirectly. As the number of holes on the disk is constant, the pulse produced or directly is a function of rotational speed. This is the point. Number of holes on the disk is constant. The pulses produced are directly the function of rotational speed. Okay, and what are the advantage and disadvantage of this one? Here the advantage is the output of the tachometer is pulsated output, that is in the digital form. So no additional analog to digital converters are required for this one. The amplitude of pulses produced every time is constant. Hence, complex electronic circuitry is not needed here. Disadvantage: the lifetime of a light source is major drawback here. Typically, the lifetime of any light source is 50,000 to 60,000 hours. Hence, it is necessary to replace light source time to time. ఆ లైట్ సోర్స్ ప్రాబ్లం రావచ్చు అనమాట. ఆ లైట్ సోర్స్ను మనం ఆ టైం టు టైం దాని డ్యూరబిలిటీ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత రీప్లేస్ చేయాల్సి ఉంటుంది అనమాట. దిస్ ఈస్ ది వన్ ఆఫ్ ది డిసడ్వాంటేజ్. And next one is the accuracy of the method depends upon the error represented by one pulse here. If the period during which frequency is measured by counting the pulses, that is gating period, is too short, or is a serious error here. Gating time, pulse counting time, ట్రిగరింగ్ టైం అనేది కొంచెం టూ షార్ట్గా ఉందనుకున్నాము, అప్పుడు మనకు కొంచెం ఎర్రర్ కూడా రావచ్చు అనమాట ఆ రీడింగ్స్లో. అది this is the serious error is going to be caused here. Hence, gating period should be selected in such a way that large counting is going to be obtained. మనకు లార్జ్ కౌంట్ వచ్చేలాగా ఆ గేటింగ్ పీరియడ్ కూడా మనం సెట్ చేసుకోవాలి కరెక్ట్గా, లేకపోతే ఇట్ ఈస్ గోయింగ్ టు గివ్ సమ్ ఎర్రర్ సిగ్నల్ హియర్. దిస్ ఈజ్ అబౌట్ photoelectric type tachometer. I will show this video at the end of this session. Okay, then you will get the clear idea. Next one. Next one is toothed rotor variable reluctance tachometer. This is also inductive type tachometer. A toothed rotor variable reluctance tachometer is an inductive type tachometer. In this tachometer, a metallic rotor is going to be placed here. This is the rotor with teeth. This is the shaft. This is the shaft, and this is the magnetic pickup, or it is wounded with some coil, and the other end is connected with some transformer like this. And other end of this, this is the primary winding like that. This is the secondary winding is given to the electronic counter. Here in this tachometer, a metallic rotor with a number of tooth is mounted on a shaft whose speed is to be measured here. The magnetic pickup is placed near the toothed rotor. The magnetic pickup is going to be placed near the toothed rotor. Magnetic pickup is placed near the toothed rotor. A magnetic pickup consists of a small permanent magnet with a coil wound around as shown in the figure. When the shaft rotates, the toothed rotor also rotates. Shaft rotate అయ్యేటప్పుడు ఈ షాఫ్ట్ రొటేట్ అయ్యేటప్పుడు this shaft rotate అయ్యేటప్పుడు this rotor is also going to be rotate here. When the rotor rotates, the reluctance of air gap between that and magnetic pickup changes here. This magnetic Due to this rotation, the magnetic pickup is going to be changes. This ultimately induces some EMF here. This ultimately is going to induce some EMF in the coil present around the permanent magnet here. The output is obtained in pulsed form, and then using appropriate circuitry, the number of pulses are counted by an electronic counter. It is transmitted. It is going to produce some EMF here. Then that is transmitted to the step down transformer. Thereafter, that voltage is given to some electronic counter. It will gives the how many pulses are going to be generated here. The frequency of pulses depends upon the number of teeth of rotor and speed of rotation. But the number of teeth is fixed here, and the rotational speed can be measured directly by counting the frequency of the pulses using electronic counter. Suppose the rotor has n teeth, and suppose the speed of rotation is in RPS. Speed of rotation is in n in RPS. The number of pulses on 1 second is given by capital P. Then number of pulses per revolution is capital N. Thus, the speed is given by speed small n is equal to pulses per second by number of teeth, that is equal to pulses per second is P, pulses per second is capital P by number of n is capital N. Capital N is number of pulses per revolution. Number of pulses per revolution. This is in terms of RPS, that is equal to capital P by capital N. Capital P by capital N. This is the in terms of rotations per minute we are going to take. That's why this is 60. We are going to add some 60 here. This is the number of teeth capital N. This is the, and suppose the speed of rotations and in RPS. Okay. Here this is the formula P by N into 60. That is in terms of RPM. The advantage of this instrument is simple in construction and rugged in construction. Maintenance free tachometer. Calibration of tachometer is also simple. The transmission of output of the tachometer is easy. And digital transducers for displacement measurement. By use of digital code, it is possible to identify the position of a mobile test piece in terms of binary numbers here. The the position is converted into train of pulses. The position is going to be converted into train of pulses. This is achieved by digital transducer, and it is also termed as encoder. We are going to take this digital transducer in terms of encoder. I will name this as encoder here. Since the binary system uses only two states, that is 0 or 1, it can be easily represented by two different types of systems, that is optical system or electrical system here. Digital transducers using optical methods are called optical encoders, while those using electrical methods are called resistive electrical type of encoders. There are two types of encoders. First one is optical, and next one is electrical type. First one, optical encoders. A sector may be designed with a pattern of opaque and translucent areas. ఒక సెక్టార్ తీసుకుంటాం. ఆ సెక్టార్లో ఏంటంటే ఒపెక్ సర్ఫేస్ ట్రాన్స్లూసెంట్ ఏరియా సర్ఫేస్ని చూసుకుంటాం అనమాట. ఆ ఒపెక్ సర్ఫేస్ ఏమో ఒక వన్ అని ట్రాన్స్లూసెంట్ సర్ఫేస్కి ఒపెక్ సర్ఫేస్కి లేకపోతే దిస్ ఒపెక్ సర్ఫేస్కి ఒక నెంబరు, లేకపోతే ట్రాన్స్లూసెంట్ సర్ఫేస్కి ఇంకొక నెంబర్ ఇస్తాం అన్నమాట. దట్ మే బీ ఇన్ టర్మ్స్ ఆఫ్ వన్స్ అండ్ జీరోస్. Okay. The photosensor and a light source is placed on the two sides of the sector. The displacement is applied to the sector, and therefore changes the amount of light falling on the photoelectric sensor here. The displacement is placed to the sector, and therefore the changes of the amount of light, the changes of the amount of light. ఇందాక చూసాం కదమ్మా, ఒక షాఫ్ట్ రోటర్ ఉంది కదా, ఆ టైప్ లోనే ఉంటుంది అనమాట ఎన్కోడర్ కూడా సేమ్. The displacement is applied to the sector, and therefore the change of the amount of light falls on the photoelectric sensor here. The pattern of illuminated sensor then carries the information to the location of the sector. The number of levels in the encoder determines the accuracy with which the device is going to be operate here. Here, this is the layered type transparent shaded area. This shaded area I can take this as transparent here, and unshaded area we can take this as opaque surface here. By this one we can code this as ones and in terms of ones and zeros. I can make here. Let it be. This is one. This is zero. This is one. This is zero. Like that, I can code here. I can code here. This is the position. Uh, this is the position. This is 0, this is 1 1 0, and in terms of zeros and ones I can code here by using this transparent and opaque surfaces. The advantage of this optical encoder is they give you a true digital readout. No mechanical contact is involved, and therefore the problem of wear and tear and alignments are going to be are not going to be present here. And disadvantage is light sources are going to be bounce out may takes place here. I will show this one. I will show this optical encoder. Next one, resistive digital encoder. Another method in which pattern may be used in the resistive electric encoder type. The shaded areas are made up of conducting material and unshaded areas are insulating material here. The sliding contacts are used for making the contacts here. The circuits of the sliding contacts which comes in contact with the contacting area are completed, while those which make contact with the insulated area are not completed here. The encoder gives a digital readout which is an indication of the position of the device, and hence they determines the displacement here. The encoder gives a digital readout. This encoder I am going to obtain some digital readout which is the indication of the position of the device, which is going to indicate the position of the device here, and hence determines the displacement. The advantage of this resistive digital encoder is it is inexpensive, it is highly accurate, and disadvantage is wear and tear of this contact causes some error here. There is an there is often an ambiguity for one bit LSB like that. One bit LSB మనకు error రావచ్చు అనమాట by using this type of device. And next one is shaft spatial type encoder. A shaft encoder is a mechanical converter. It is just like a mechanical converter. This is the shaft. This is the shaft. This is the some some indicating here. Some indicator are provided here. This is just like a sensor. It is going to sense the what is the transparent, what is the transparent part and what is the opaque part like that. It is zero. Let it be this is white area is all zeros. These sensors will detect that space here, all zeros it is going to detect it. Next one, 0 0 1, this is the one position. Next one is 0 0 1 0, second position, and third one is 0 0 0 1 1, fourth one is 0 1 0 0, like that. All these sensors will detect the what is the what is this what is the position of this number. It is also acts as a this by using this sector arrangement. It can also be acts as a conversion like that, binary to gray conversion, gray to binary conversion like that. It can also be acts like that. Okay, ఈ సెక్టార్ అరేంజ్మెంట్ తోటి మనం ఈ ఎన్కోడర్ అరేంజ్మెంట్ తోటి కన్వర్షన్ కూడా చేయొచ్చు అనమాట. This by using this sensor, it is going to sense the what is the what is the digit, or what is the count value. It can be identified. Okay. A spatial encoder is a mechanical converter that translates the angular position of the shaft into the digital number here. Angular position of the shaft is going to be converted into the digital numbers here. And it can be therefore acts as analog to digital converter. An increase in the number of measuring instruments are being used to communicate with digital computers for measurement and control applications. The disk is divided into concentric circular tracks. It is going to divide it into concentric circular tracks, each of which is then divided into segments here in a manner depending upon the code being used. Each of which is going to be divided into segments. These are the segments. It is going to be divided into segments here, each of which is then divided into segments in a manner depending upon the code being used. ఏదైతే కోడ్ యూస్ చేసుకుంటున్నామో ఆ విధంగా ఆ కోడ్కి తగ్గట్లుగా ఆ నెంబర్ పొజిషన్ తగ్గట్లుగా we are going to divide that into segments here. For pure binary code, the inner this one is the binary code only. Here we are using for this shaft type encoder, we are using binary code only. In the same way, we can use the gray code also. Gray code also is possible. The conversion sake, we can use this sector type of sector and segment type of arrangement. Okay, here For pure binary code, the innermost track is half the next quartered and the next divided into 8 parts and so on like that. We can depends upon our binary code digit level also we can divide this as tracks and sectors here. 4 bit for example we are given this diagram is given for 4 bit. We can increase this for 8 bit also. We can increase this for 16 bit also like that. Okay. Each track has twice as many as segments as the adjacent one near the center here. The detection method determines the treatment of the disk here. Alternate segments on each track are made transparent and opaque if transmitted light and photo cells are used. అట్లా కూడా యూస్ చేసుకోవచ్చు అన్నమాట. ట్రాన్స్మిటెడ్ లైట్ అండ్ ఒపెక్యూ సర్ఫేసెస్ బట్టి కూడా చెప్పొచ్చు అనమాట. If the segments are made reflected and non-reflecting, reflected light and photo cells are going to be used here. Electrical methods are used for detection in case the segments are made alternatively conducting and non-conducting also. ఎలక్ట్రికల్ మెథడ్స్ యూస్ చేసుకున్నాం అనుకోండి. ఇక్కడ ఈ పొజిషన్లో ఒక పొజిషన్ ఈ పొజిషన్లో ఏమో నాన్ కండక్టింగ్, ఈ పొజిషన్లో ఏమో జీరోస్ వచ్చిన పొజిషన్లో ఏమో నాన్ కండక్టింగ్ పెట్టుకొని ఈ ఈ వన్ వచ్చిన పొజిషన్లో ఏమో కండక్టింగ్ పెట్టుకోవచ్చు అనమాట. అట్లా కూడా ఎలక్ట్రికల్ డివైజెస్ వీ కెన్ మేడ్ అని చెప్పి చెప్తున్నారు అనమాట. హియర్ ఎలక్ట్రికల్ మెథడ్స్ ఆర్ యూస్డ్ ఫర్ డిటెక్షన్ ఇన్ కేస్ ద సెగ్మెంట్స్ ఆర్ మేడ్ ఆల్టర్నేటివ్లీ కండక్టింగ్ అండ్ నాన్ కండక్టింగ్ ఆల్సో. దిస్ ఈజ్ అబౌట్ షాఫ్ట్ స్పేషియల్ ఎన్కోడర్. I will show the I will show this one small video. By that you will get the elaborate idea.
Welcome to Optical Encoders.
Is it audible, students? Is it audible? Anyone please respond?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
An optical encoder is an electromechanical device that provides feedback information in a closed-loop motion control system. This information is for both rotary and linear mechanisms. Optical encoders provide information for direction, position, and velocity. Direction, position, and velocity. Let's adjust the velocity of this motor. You can see how adjusting the velocity of the motor affects the velocity of the conveyor belt. An optical encoder typically has 4 major elements: light source, light sensor, optical disc, and signal conditioning circuitry. The light source is typically a light-emitting diode, or LED. Instead of producing a light that is visible to humans, an infrared light is usually transmitted. The light sensor is a phototransistor. Because the sensor is sensitive to infrared energy emitted by the light source, ambient light has a minimal effect on the sensor. Optical disc. A disc is placed between the light source and the sensor. It is connected to the shaft being measured so that the disc and shaft can rotate together. As the disc is rotated, light alternately passes through the translucent slots and is blocked by the opaque areas between the slots. The phototransistor is connected to the signal conditioning circuitry. The signal conditioning circuitry consists of a load resistor and the Schmitt trigger. Let's see how the circuitry works as the light is alternately blocked and passed to the transistor. When light is present, when light passes through a slot on the disc, the following conditions occur. Transistor turns on. Since there is minimal resistance, the voltage drop across the transistor is near 0 volts. The 0-volt potential at the transistor's collector is fed to the input of the Schmitt trigger, which results in a 0-volt potential at its output. The near positive 5 volts from the power source drops across the load resistor. When the light is blocked by the opaque area between the slots, the following conditions occur. The transistor turns fully off. Since it acts like an open and there is a large resistance, the voltage drop across the transistor is near positive 5 volts. The positive volt potential at the transistor's collector is fed to the input of the Schmitt trigger, which results in a positive 5 volt potential at its output. Near 0 volts drops across the load resistor. The Schmitt trigger converts pulses from the phototransistor into the square waves required by the computing device that received the feedback signal for the closed loop system. Let's do a quick review. The type of light typically emitted by the light source of an optical encoder is
Okay, students, by this we have completed the optical encoders. In the next class, we will see the next subsequent parameter measurement. Okay, by this I am going to end this session. You can leave now. Thank you one and all. I am ending the session.